Okay, so now, so let's move on to Alice, Sweet Alice.
Oh, I love this movie.
La, 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 la. Okay, so now, when I was bringing up the idea of doing an American Giallo show, this was Eli's suggestion. He was like, oh, you got to add Alice, Sweet Alice. It's completely an American Giallo. Now, I have not seen Alice, Sweet Alice since it came out, all right, in
76.
Yeah.
Well,
I had never seen it.
It didn't come out in Los Angeles in 76. It didn't come out until after Brooke Shields' fame, and it was released as Alice, Sweet Alice. So it came out either towards the end of 78 or the beginning of 79. It was much better and more impressive than I expected it to be, but I didn't necessarily like it. But then as time has gone on, its reputation and what Alfred Soule did has really kind of stayed in my mind. I was really looking forward for an excuse to watch it again. And this was my excuse. So I had a very interesting take on the whole thing. I'm looking forward to talk about that. Well, yeah, no, when I saw it, it was originally called Communion. Then when it was after Brooke Shields did Pretty Baby, then it was released as Alice, Sweet Alice, pushing the Brooke Shields connection. And then it was released even a third time as Holy Terror. Now, let me bring up my reaction to the movie when I saw it. Originally, and then how I feel about it now. Okay, so like I said, I saw Alice, Sweet Alice when it came out. I wasn't expecting it to be very good, but it's definitely an odd duck. It had its own odd quality, and it wasn't bad. I knew it wasn't a bad movie, but I didn't warm up to it. I didn't really like it per se. My biggest problem with Alice, Sweet Alice as a movie is when it comes to tone, the film is perfect. The tone of the film is not only perfect, it's also perfectly unique to the movie itself. The film has bad pacing problems. The movie doesn't flow from one scene to the next scene. It's not herky, it's not jerky, it doesn't jerk from one scene to the next scene, but good scenes don't build on other scenes. There is this sequence is over and then another sequence starts and it takes a little bit to get into it and then it does. But there's not a flow. And I do think one of the things that the film needed was a more pronounced soundtrack. And I think, this is a movie that if it had a Morricone soundtrack, but especially Morricone, I think this is the one where I would give it to Morricone.
Sure.
A more Italian laid on soundtrack that deals with the religious themes and deals with the religious choir kind of things. I think it would have actually held the movie together. I think it would have filled in those cracks and filled in those fissures and those air pockets. I'd even go for Nico Fidenko. Well, Morricone is still the best choice for that. Okay, so, and I do think that would have filled in the gap. There's another aspect. Okay, so why was I almost turned off while appreciating Alice, Sweet Alice, where I was invigorated by Deep Red? Alice, Sweet Alice violence is not sadistic. It is horrifying.
It's terrifying. It's
not fun. It wasn't fun when I was a kid watching it. It was really disturbing. And it's still disturbing to this day. There is not the neon buzz of fun and sexuality and cinema even going on during it. No, I think those flaws stop it from actually entering Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Brood, Rabid category. But it's just slightly underneath, and probably has better production design than and even costume design than the other ones put together.
That's all incremental. Well, maybe not. That's probably a personal taste.
Maybe not Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
but the others,
La 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 la, which is similar to the plastic mask that the killer in New Year's Evil wears, isn't it? Yeah. Well, we talked about that. One of the things that's really strong about the movie is, on one hand, it feels like a regional horror film, like a kind of horror film that would be shot in Cleveland or something like that. And you're using Cleveland actors.
Don't go in the basement or whatever.
However, there is a distinctive New Jersey element, and the only other movie that really has that really distinctive New Jersey element is Don't Go in the House. But the thing is, while they do seem like extremely good regional actors, that's also because he's close enough to New York, all right, to get actually legit New York acting talent, all right, to appear in his film. There is an aspect of this is like a New Jersey version of Don't Touch Her, a Duck. Well, they definitely. Well, also it's the emphasis on Catholicism that also makes it feel very much like a giallo, and it gives it Italian, like Roman origins. But here's the thing about it though. As we were watching the movie, I was putting it under the microscope a little bit about why is this so well done compared to other films of its ilk? while Alice Sweet Alice doesn't have any more money or any larger budget than other movies made of its time and of its ilk, I think it's pretty obvious he had more time making it. He had a length to his shooting schedule that is not normal for this type of movie. And you can tell by the unheard of number of setups he does in the course of scenes. But even more than that, it feels like he has time. This does not feel like a rushed production in any way. Not an Elephantine production. It has all the time in the world, and they had too much time. But there's
you can tell
almost part of 70s low budget cinema is the rush aspect is built into its DNA. And when you see a film that's not rushing, you notice it. He also suffered the same thing that happened to Tobe Hooper. He was attached to this project and that project, and then things happened that made him drop out just before. Like the way Tobe Hooper almost directed The Dark. Yeah. And then got fired. And then he almost directed Venom and he got fired. I remember a lot of different Fangoria and Cinema Fantastique notices that Albert Soule was going to be directing something or other, and then it turned out he dropped out. He's so legitimately creepy. He's creepier than any K&B creation could ever possibly be. And I felt that from the time that I saw him. I mean, there was almost one of the is this guy a real guy? Not his personality per se, but just the creepiness that is him. Well, but it's interesting though. It's a weird kind of grotesque. Okay, you can't stop looking at him.
Yeah.
He's mesmerizing to look at. It's not like I can't look away. I can't tear my eyes away. Alice is a really great character. She really is. The mother gives a fantastic performance. Yes. I mean, really, really terrific. The ant is like
Sparkle Motion.
No, the ant is like a character out of a John Waters movie, but he's not bad.
He's not bad.
He's not bad. But he's not as good as he's not as good as the priest, Father Tom. And he's definitely not as good as but he's not bad though. I liked him by the end. By the end I liked him. Well, he looks like a soap opera actor. As a matter of fact, he reminds you of somebody that would be on Mary Hartman.
Yeah,
but that's a positive thing.
Which he was.
And then it ends with
this track.
Well, the best last shot of the entire quadruple of movies. The last shot is just fantastic. Yeah. Well, the way it goes with moving bag, then on the bag, then on the knife, then on Alice. I also think that part of the thing that I was actually confused about when I saw it when it first came out is I didn't think it was a mystery at first. I thought, well, no, obviously Alice is doing it. Okay, and I'm going to say something that I haven't said up until now, but since we haven't revealed the killer on this one, let's not reveal the killer on this one.
Okay.
I think that is part of the fun of that movie. We won't reveal it. And I could actually talk about that character a lot because there's a lot to talk about that character. But let's not on this one. La 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 la.